Welcome to the Help Myself podcast. I am your host, John M. Singletary Sr. I've got to put that senior in there. Y'all can hear my co-pilot back in there, aka LJ John M. Singletary Jr. So welcome to the first episode of the Help Myself podcast live. Man, I'm so happy that you decided to take some time out of your busy day to join us today. I'm really excited for all of the folks that are tuning in that have never experienced the Help Myself podcast. I want to thank you for taking this time just to take a chance on us. We definitely want to make sure that we're creating content that adds value to your life and that is interesting and that you would want to continue to follow. For all of the folks that are coming in and checking in from other platforms that I'm a part of, I thank you so much for your support. We're definitely a community and a tribe, and I see us go across platforms supporting each other. So thank you so much for your support. Feel free to come in and comment and say everything that you want to say. I know y'all gonna have plenty of jokes, but for all of my folks that have been rocking with the Help Myself podcast, I appreciate your support. I could not do what I do without you. We are a team. You've supported me from the very beginning, so I am just grateful and thankful. So to give you a little background on how we got here, in March of 2020, the very first episode of the Help Myself podcast premiered. It was a little rough. The name of the episode is Rough Draft. I wasn't even sure if I wanted to keep it, but I kind of got a flow going and I said, hey, this wasn't too bad. So I'll keep it and we'll move on from there. And so I jokingly call season 1 my lo-fi season. You know, we kept working it out to see if we could get, all of the technical aspects of it, because we were just doing a cell phone deal. My iPhone was the beginning and the end, the genesis and the revelation of everything that we were doing. So, but I knew that I wanted to have guests on. And so I was a little nervous about my interview skills. I had done things of this nature, interviews in public sessions and everything, but I had never done it in a podcast format. So I had 3 people that were extremely close to me to come on and be my guests. And I found out that first off, I've got some pretty dope folks in my contact list. That it's amazing, the amazing things that the people in my life have accomplished and continue to accomplish. But I also found out that when we got together and started talking about our accomplishments, one of the things that I wanted to focus on was a resiliency story, because I wanted to encourage people that may be going through or have gone through that you can come out on the other side. And then these people were very successful in their industries. They were successful in their education and all these things that they were doing. But most importantly, everyone that I had on season 1 lived lives of service to other people. And that was what was important to me. So every time I have a guest, even to this day, and season 2 has been amazing. I think I've had 10, 11 guests on season 2 already, and we still got about 2 months left to go, and I got more guests coming. But the important thing is that there was a resiliency story, that they had come through something that really changed them and challenged them. The second thing is that they had a level of success, whether it was academically, professionally, in a chosen field. But the most important thing was that life of service. And these 3 people that I have on tonight definitely fit the bill. They are singularly, and I say it's 3 of them, and I said singularly, so I'm good with math, right? But they are singularly responsible for the Help Myself podcast coming into existence, for me continuing on into a season 2, and to continue on with a lot of the connections and the fellowship and the tribe and the community that I'm building. So without further prelim, again, thank you so much for this first episode of Help Myself Podcast Live, across all of the things that we'll be doing with the Help Myself podcast, which in a couple of months, maybe beginning with season 2, we'll do the Help Myself podcast remix. So be watching out for that. But across the entirety of all of the episodes, this is episode number 61. So we've been doing this for a while. We're learning, we're growing, and we're building. So without further ado, let me introduce our guests. Our first guest was the first person that I ever interviewed on the Help Myself podcast. He is a big reason why I took the leap. We was talking about me doing a podcast for probably a year, maybe 2, maybe 3. And he just kept pushing me. And he's got that position in my life that he's able to do that because not only has he been a professional mentor for me for the better part of the last 2 decades, but he's also my life coach. So the first person I want to introduce is Dr. Kevin Danley. He is a life coach. He's a professor. He's a business owner, serial entrepreneur. He is an amazing man doing amazing things. Dr. Kev, how you feeling? How you doing?
Doing well, man. Hey, it's a privilege and an honor to be here. I appreciate it. Just being the first one that you interviewed for your podcast was amazing in and of itself. But now to be here with you on your first live broadcast and to be here with 2 other great people I know in your life, it's an honor.
Man, it's an honor to have you here. Your episode started from Brick City. And now we're here.
Absolutely.
And one of the things about your episode, you kept censoring yourself. You kept saying, I think I'm talking too long. And I'm like, man, no, you dropping them dimes, bro. Keep it going. But we are so excited to have you here. The next guest is my sister, beloved. She is was a senior leader in my organization. She really set me up for success to be the senior leader in our organization. And it was a lot of times she had me going to meetings and doing stuff. And I said, hey, man, I don't feel like doing this. You trying to throw all your work off on me. But at the time, I thought she was trying to be slick. But now in hindsight, I realized that she was setting me up to be the go-to leader, to put people in position to consistently win. And when I tell you we have won, and it is because of her efforts. I've told her many times that she gave our organization more than we deserved. She is Chief Master Sergeant retired. She is a serial entrepreneur, real estate, all kinds of things. But she is an amazing woman of God with a heart like no other. My sister, Jessica Joy Taylor. Hey.
Hello, hello.
How are you?
Fantastic.
She's like, why are you asking me all this? We were just backstage talking. I got to be performative for all the people that are watching.
Look, I already told you. I had to focus on the mute button. Right.
Yeah, we're not high tech like Zoom, but, we get there, right? Some of the things that we talked about on your episode, use your powers for good. And I'll tell you how, the episode got that name. Me and Jessica, our birthdays are 2 days apart. I'm 2 days older. So we say we're twins, but I'm the evil twin because I got out too early, but she had that extra 2 days, to hang out and get everything right. So I'm the evil twin and she's the good twin, but we the wonder twins when we get together. So
all facts.
She's always telling me, you got powers, but you need to use them for good because I'm always with the shenanigans. One time she told on me. I told on her and she was in her feelings.
The one time I decided to cut up, he decides to snitch. I don't understand.
And I'm here to let y'all know it is true. Snitches do get stitches. But thank you so much for being here tonight. I'm so excited. I appreciate you so much. Our next guest, this is my boy. I don't know if I should get into this story, but it was 2003. And I was getting married and we spent all this money on this expensive hotel that we were going to stay in, after the wedding. But I didn't realize that that's the bridal suite before the wedding and I didn't have nowhere to stay. So we had a friend in common, never met this brother in my life, but yet he welcomed me into his home. And I'll tell you what we did the night before my wedding. We did not go to the strip clubs. We did not party. We did not get drunk. We watched the late Kobe Bryant, when he was when news first broke of Colorado, we watched the press conference of him apologizing. Then we watched an Allen Iverson mixtape on VHS, and then we went to sleep. And the next day we got up went to the gym. After the gym, we had Waffle House. And then we had to go to the mall to get my tuxedo. And after all of that, I was still the first person to get to the church. Ain't that something? But after a genesis like that, man, he has been in my corner for many years. I have watched him go through the ups and downs, as we like to say, the vicissitudes of life. And he's taken punches, but he's never let them take him out. I remember years ago, he had a radio show called Another Perspective. And he let me sit in the studio with him. He was like, hey, you want to get on the mic and say something? Man, when I tell y'all I was scared, I was like, nah, I don't want no part of that. So I think it's poetic justice that after that, I would have him on my show. Yeah. But the next brother is a 30-plus year Air Force veteran. He is a life coach. He's the owner and operator of Oracle Life Coaching. He's a personal trainer. And he is a brother that'll give me a hard time when I'm thinking that I'm super fly. He'll let me take me down a few notches whenever I think I'm doing really good. Yeah. But it's none other than brother John A. Frazier.
Hey, what's going on, man?
Hey, man, how you feeling tonight?
Man, I'm feeling amazing. I'm
amazing.
Yeah.
Look, I know I've been doing a lot of talking, but I got to tell y'all what all of these folks mean to my life. That's why LJ hear the voices and he's getting excited because he loves all of them, you know, like every time he hears their voices, he gets excited. But when is LJ not excited, right? Ain't that right, co-pilot? Yeah. But Dr. Danley, he's been a part of my life for so many years. I remember the first time I met him, we were at a retention and training advertising workshop in Knoxville, Tennessee. And he walked in to do a briefing, and all of the ladies was like, oh my God, look at how his uniform fits. He's so handsome. And I said, I want to be like that guy right there. But no, he has been a mentor for me. He taught me about investments, taught me about a game named Sudoku. I'm from the east side of San Antonio. I ain't never heard of no Sudoku. He's the type of brother, though, man. New Jersey through and through. He's the type of brother that will let you know how he feels about you. I remember we had a national conference in Denver, Colorado in 2009. And I had done some stuff that didn't sit right with him. And he let me know about it. He let me know about it. And you know how you got that walk when you really cuss somebody out good? When he was walking back to the bus, he had that walk like, yeah. But man, he's been an advocate for me. And I would not have been able to make the senior leader transition without his help. I was looking at a note from a mentoring session in 2017, and he came up with the 7 tenets of emotional health and well-being. And I'm looking at these notes like, no wonder I hired him on as my life coach. So, bruh, I tell you, again, like I said, I can't say it enough. I would not be where I am and succeeding at this level if it wasn't for your guidance. You know, we just talked earlier today. So I was trying to think of something clever, lame, like a line like, I'm not only a player, I'm not only a client, I'm the player president, but it wasn't working for me. It didn't work out for me. So Jessica Joy Taylor, man, what can I say about that? When's the next staff meeting? When are we gonna give it? Are we gonna do it at Chateau Singletary, or is it gonna be at Rose's?
Me with the mute button. Tell you about this. Me with the mute button. It's gonna be all night. Well, first of all, I got to get back in town, so we can do staff meeting Zoom, preferably. But between now and then, but whenever you're ready.
I'm ready. But so as a senior leader of our organization, I tell you, she made an imprint. We have been going through transition, and we understand the challenge of not only being a woman in leadership, but you know, a woman of color. And I know y'all are looking and y'all think y'all know, but my sister is a Latina. When I first met her, she busted out a full-fledged Spanish. I was like, whoa, but originated from Panama and the Panamanian culture. And she's taught me so many things and kind of helped me understand the challenges that she faced as she came back to the States and kind of understanding the culture. But I really think it was the cheat code for the way that you approach things, because, you know, a lot of people get caught in the politics, but you never got caught in that. And you were all about empowering people to do their job. And then obviously your resiliency story. I will let you get into that as much as you're willing. You always wowed me with your strength with that situation. And you taught me how to properly grieve. Now, I lost Martika in 2008, and you went through your loss almost a year later. And I thought I was supposed to be helping you through that grief process, but you helped me and taught me how to better grieve. And I appreciate you so much. And again, you know, I'm texting her every day with either we're talking about good things and leadership and how to be good people, or it's all shenanigans. Like, it's no middle ground with us. We are just one way or the other. But
I'll let you decide who's got the shenanigans and who's talking about the good stuff. I'll leave it at that. I'll let y'all decide.
They'd be surprised. They would be surprised. And my brother, John A. Frazier, listen, man, season 2 happened. It's the hi-fi season, because I called you up and I said, man, I'm thinking about quitting this. I'm either going to quit, I'm going to buy some new equipment. And you said, bro, you need to get some more equipment, because you don't equipment. Man, so I appreciate that so much. Man, we've had heart-to-hearts. Again, like I said, I don't think you realize it, but I watched you go through and lose everything and then build it back up to get where you are. And I kept that example in my heart for a long time as I was going through my own situations, my divorce, losing Tika. And man, I tell you what, I thank God for you, because you were there. Like, some people be like, hey, is there anything I can do? This brother was like, I'm gonna do this and that. I got you. When I got promoted, man, y'all came through, and we got pictures of you.
No. We don't want to talk about that, buddy.
Hey, we had the snitches conversation already, John.
Have you guys seen the pictures, though? Have you seen the pictures?
No, I'm
good.
No, I'm not gonna do.
We'll talk offline. We'll talk offline. We'll let y'all see it.
We'll talk
in SFW.
Yeah.
Just for some balance.
But hey, man, let's get into it. I want to know, and this is a roundtable question. We'll start in order of precedence. So we'll start with you, GQ. Oh yeah, I call Dr. Danley. I call him GQ because he's that guy. He made me and another one of our brothers who's 6'4". He actually made us disappear one day. We tell that story all the time. I'll tell y'all about it at another time. I won't embarrass that brother with that right now.
Man, you're talking about, I'm 50 years old now, man. That was quite some time ago. I was a lot less gray.
It still happened. I ain't gonna forget it. I'm 6 foot and my bro was 6'4", and you made us disappear. We were invisible. That young lady did not know we existed once she saw you. But hey man, what have you been up to since last year, since we recorded? Started from Brick City, now we're here.
Yeah, so as you know, as we've talked about this, I am now a professor at Capella University, online university for those who don't know. So I started doing that back in April. I still have my life coaching business, but I started doing that. So I've been putting a lot of work into getting better at doing that, because I've been, I've taught for a lot of years. I've mentored, I've taught, I've facilitated, I've done all those different things, but doing it at a college level is new to me. So just kind of been honing my craft a bit, working on that, trying to get better. Also started working on a book. I'm working on a leadership book. I haven't been all in the way that I need to be just yet, but I'm getting there. I've had a lot of other things going on, a lot of irons in the fire, but I am working on a leadership book, and I'm taking my time with it because it's something I want it to be different. My dissertation for my PhD, which is in leadership, I'm kind of building on that a little bit, but I don't want it to be an academic book, but I also don't want it to be like a typical, I don't know, like a John Maxwell type of leadership book either. I want it to be something a little bit different. So it's going to take me a little while to put it together the way that I want it. So I am, writing a lot, taking notes, doing all of these different things. And I figure at the end, once I throw up on paper, then I can kind of, put it together the way that I want it, massage it a little bit, and hopefully it'll happen kind of organically, I'm hoping. So those are the two main things that I'm working on. Obviously, just ensuring that my mental health stays the way that it needs to be. You and I have talked about that as well. I think that, the Black culture, especially for Black men, there's a stigma around mental health and seeing psychologists, psychiatrists, or whatever. But it's so important. It doesn't make you weak. It doesn't mean that you have something that's wrong with you. But I think we all need that sort of outlet. So I've been working on that as well. And then back to traveling too. I mean, obviously with COVID, and not that everything is open back up, but things are a little bit better than they were last year since when we first talked on your podcast. So getting back to traveling, as you know, I'm an avid traveler. My wife and I love to go and experience things. And the way we travel is a little bit different from most, I think. We don't vacation when we travel. We travel with a purpose. I love to experience different people and cultures and things of that nature. So getting back to doing that as well. So those are the main things I've been doing. Also been doing some guest lecturing for a couple of different universities, talking about leadership and things of that nature. So that's kind of what I've been up to in the last, I think we did this, in September, I think it was, of last year. I believe it was September. So just over a year. So those are kind of the main things I've been up to over the last year.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
I always feel like I could be doing more, honestly. So
Man, yeah, you got a lot of irons in the fire, but no, I mean, and that's crazy too. I learned a few things, and I talk to you pretty regularly, so I talk to all of y'all regularly. But that's how amazing y'all are. There's still something to add. Y'all hear nephew in the back excited. Now we're gonna go to you, Jessica Joy. What have you been up to in the last year?
Wow, so I'm laughing because in the intro you were like serial entrepreneur. I've been detoxing, so. And what I mean by that is, I retired just a little over a year and a half ago. And as you mentioned, a year prior to that, for those that don't know, I lost my son. So transitioning, a lot of transition in that period of time. And but you do what you do. I have 26 years in the military. And so I went from it's funny, when I thought about the things that I write down and what I capture, I went from a wake, pray, slay mentality to then holy hustle, to then grace over grind, and now it's just being still. So I'm sitting and being still, which is a foreign concept for me, but all with purpose, right? And you and I talked about this. Busyness is not the purpose, but just trying to find, I think, my humanness, right? So while everybody's got irons in the fire, and I'm often attracted to, oh, well, I could do this and I could do that and I could do this. And I was doing it so much so that my sister in Christ had to remind me, like, why do you have 4 jobs? I don't know how you retire and have 4 jobs. I don't know, right? So I had to start doing a life audit. And that's why I say detoxing, in the sense of just learning to be still, trying to find my humanness. You mentioned grieving. I think sometimes when we're just busy, we're being busy to not be still and go through the desert, if you will. So just sitting in it and seeing what it feels like, and not in a bad way, right? There's obviously, and I think a lot of people learned that through COVID, this season of COVID. There are a lot of blessings in the burden. So, but in the words of Jefferson Bethke in his book, To Hell with the Hustle, and I'll read it, it's, I want to be more than an efficient, driven, ambitious, goal-oriented, achievement-based human. Like, who am I outside of that machine, right? So that's what I'm trying to figure out. I realized that there's a thing such as the law of diminishing returns, that we have an optimal level that we can operate at, and there's only 24 hours of the day. And Lord knows, when you wear the uniform, as I believe we all have, we maximize all 24 of those hours. So it's fascinating watching how my 24 hours are full, but it's a different kind of full with quality and purpose. So just going through, again, it's new. It's a new journey. So just kind of poking at that and experiencing it and seeing what it's like. So if I've been up to anything, I've been up to nothing, and it looks good. I like it, nothing. So because it just gives me opportunity to spend time, to finally design the life that I want, right? when we're serving full time, we sacrifice time with our families and we sacrifice time with our loved ones. And now if it's not about them, I'm not interested. If I'm feeling rushed, I'm not interested. If I'm feeling stressed, I'm not interested. And just trying to see how long and how much I enjoy that. So I'm up to absolutely nothing. Mic drop.
Taylor out.
You already know. You already know.
Oh, man. LJ agrees. Brother John, what have you been up to since you dropped your podcast episode, An Intrinsic Desire to Help?
Wow, you know what? I'm glad you reminded me of the title, to be honest. And you know what? I've thought like what I've really been up to, and I don't want to get into like, you know, a lot of, just like what Jessica said, I don't want to get into a lot of, you know, I've done this, I've done that, because really, truly what I've really been trying to do over the last year, to be honest, is really paying attention to some certain things, especially like say my health, especially in this COVID atmosphere. Just being mindful of my health, eating better, taking better care of myself and my family, those kinds of things. Focusing, like Kevin said as well, even about mental health, especially being a Black man, seeing a lot of things that happened last year with George Floyd and a lot of things that happened. It really put me in a pretty weird space, being someone who still wears a uniform. It put me in a really weird space, being a Black man in uniform, because it makes it really difficult. That dynamic in and of itself, I don't think there's a lot of conversation about it. At least there's not enough conversation about it. So I think really trying to get myself at a place where I could understand and recognize what made sense during those times. So really taking care of my own personal mental health, you know, and let's say, probably delving myself. No, I'll save that for last. Going back and scrapping a lot of what I did, what I had set up. You know that I actually started a podcast that I have not been active in, and you've been on my behind about it, and I appreciate that. But I really haven't, like Jessica said, I started finding time to make myself sit still for a while. You and I had a conversation, was it yesterday or the day before? We were talking about a lot of different things that's going on. I really felt like I wasn't motivated to do a lot, had a lot of ideas, but my energy just wasn't right. And I think sometimes you have to sit back and realize that when your energy isn't right to do something, maybe you need to be sitting still, and maybe needs to be more time of prayer, more time for meditation, things along that line. So that's kind of what I've been doing even more recently. And then delving myself more into the best Greek organization in the world, Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. So yes, just delving more into that as well, sir. That's kind of where I've been with this. But yeah, I really appreciate this opportunity to just come on and have this conversation. It's really important. I appreciate you, man. And I say that a lot. I try to say it all the time. I try to say it publicly so that everyone can hear it. But I really do appreciate your friendship. If you guys don't know, this guy could not remember he messed my name up so badly when we first met. It's ridiculous. What'd you call me? Go ahead, say it. What'd you call me?
I called you John Francis about 30 million times, man.
And I have no idea
man, we
why.
just try to say Fraser Francis,
whatever. That's just kind of what it became. That's what it was. But no, seriously, man. Being on this live podcast, your first live podcast, really appreciate the opportunity. And like I said to you before, you definitely inspire me and you keep me pushing. I appreciate you.
Man, I appreciate you. And I'm not going to say nothing about how neophytes are going to neophyte. You know, I mean, you know, he new into the Greek world, you know, and, you know, the OG over here, I got 24 years in my, but, you know, I ain't mad at you. Go on ahead with your illustrious organization. Now, I appreciate all of you. So we go to a second question. I think I'm going to change the order up this time. So question number 2. What was your impression of your interview on the Help Myself podcast when you first heard it? And we're going to start with Jessica Joy, ladies first.
Well. You and I joked about, was I supposed to go back and listen to it? I did. I kind of skimmed through it a little bit. I'm not interested in hearing myself talk, although I love to talk, with a small intimate circle. But for starters, my impression was I didn't die. Um, and I say that because you and I have some great one-on-one conversations. And people that know me, like that I have conversations with, I'm an open book, but I don't talk to everybody. So I was not enthusiastic because I was out of my comfort zone. And though I love sharing and Lord knows I can talk, I struggle with the platform. Even the Facebook thing, the Facebook Live, by the grace of God, I'm here because I love you, man. I feel I'm out of my comfort zone, and you help me out a lot. You're just like, it's just a conversation. Because again, we have great conversations, and I try not to knock it because I benefit from platforms like this. I am an avid, I love to read, listen to podcasts. I consume content. And so I understand it, but I'm more comfortable with the intimacy of staff meetings. And when we say staff meetings, let me do air quote staff meetings. That means we're just getting together, a few of us chiefs, and talking shop and just talking to talk. We're just letting our hair down. So that's more my theme. But I will tell you, you know what, even as I was preparing, leading up to this, like, oh gosh, how's this gonna go? Because he has to stalk me to make sure I'm not gonna, flake out. And somebody texted me today and they're preparing for an interview and they're like, hey, you said something at your retirement. I can't remember what it was. And it's helped me out. And in that moment, I realized the value of people hearing your story and sharing, right? So I'm here for those moments, even though I don't like it, because again, I appreciate it. But, so it was good. It was a great experience. I still struggle with it, but I'm here. So I'm work in progress.
So you're talking all that noise, but after you listened to it, you was like, Jay, I think I could do this. Like, it was good, man. And you helped a lot of people, man. I tell you, people gravitated to that interview. They wanted to get to know you. So we're gonna go. Let me see what order I want to go in now. You know what? We're gonna go with John. How about you? After you listen to yours.
So, first of all, I don't think I've watched our episode. No, I'm just kidding. Just joking. Just jokes. It's jokes. Now, when I watched our episode, I think what really came across to me was how authentic our conversation was and how organic it was. It was almost like we forgot we were actually doing an interview. It was just conversation, just like Jessica said. It was just conversation, and I applaud you for that because as you spoke earlier about improving your interview skills and things along that line, you made it really easy at that time just to have conversation. We just record the conversations that we have, and that's what that was like. And it was really good to see it, in a format like that. Actually, being able for other people to hear what we talk about, so other people could benefit from it. I think that makes it makes a difference. It makes a huge difference because I just think that a lot of times what we say can have influence in this earth, and we don't, have the opportunity to share it. But doing what you're doing right now gives us that platform. And I said before, and I keep saying how much I appreciate this opportunity, just being able to talk. I said a long time ago when I did a talk show, one of my co-hosts and myself, we would say to each other all the time, like, I would just love to be able to just talk and get paid for talking. I would just love it. It'd be an amazing thing. Now look at you. That guy who was shaking in his boots, scared to get on that microphone. My man. But no, that again, just the authenticity and it being so organic, our conversation, that's what stood out for me.
Man, I appreciate you, bro. And from your lips to God's ears about me getting paid to do this. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Hey, now. Dr. Danley, last but definitely not least, how about you? What was your impression when you first heard your interview?
Well, before I even answer that question, I want to echo what John said earlier. I always tell you when we talk, you always talk about how, I've mentored you and I've been there for you and all those sort of things when we're in public. But I have to make it known that you inspire me as well, man. You truly do. When I see you doing certain things, I have to make sure that I'm staying on top of my game. You know what I mean? Because I know that when we have our conversations, whether it just be us chopping it up or in our life coaching sessions, I have to ensure that I am practicing what I preach. You know what I mean? And I see you leveling up on a regular basis. So it kind of keeps me where I need to be, and it keeps me leveling up as well. So I appreciate that, and I appreciate our relationship, man. We go way back. We've known each other for a lot of years, and I appreciate everything that you mean to me. And I always, when we talk in private, I always tell you how proud I am of you, man, and the things that you do. Being a single dad, being a chief, and all the different things, all the responsibilities that you have. Those things aren't easy, and yet you make it look easy. And then you also have your podcast going on, man. So I'm just proud of you, and I'm honored to call you my friend as well. So again, I just wanted to put that out there. But to answer the question, I'm a recovering perfectionist. So when I went back and listened to it, even though I call myself a recovering perfectionist, I'm still my own worst critic. So I'm listening and I'm like, and it's been a while now at this point. I don't even remember every single detail of what I thought, but I do know that I told myself, man, I was talking too much and I was getting ahead. And in fact, there were a couple of times during the interview where you stated, oh, no, you good. You're answering the questions. That's the same question I was going to ask you. And I'm thinking to myself, well, man, I should have allowed him to ask the question instead of getting ahead. So that was probably the main thing that I noticed. But I also, because I knew I was the first person you were interviewing on your podcast, I wanted to make sure I did everything in my power to make it easier for you. And I think in the process of doing that, I also prevented myself from maybe saying some things that I wanted to say. And I realized after the fact that, oh man, I meant to say that in this particular instance, but I didn't because I was so busy worried about, okay, I got to make sure that, I'm doing things that are making this easier for him. And I forgot about myself in the whole process. So those are the things that I noticed.
Man, that was the first one too. I had no idea what the hell I was doing. So you in the clutch. Let me tell you something. That you changed the game on me, man. So I appreciate all y'all. I tell you that first season, man, and having those connections with y'all and the encouragement. It wasn't so much because I tell people all the time when we record, there's a whole conversation that happens before I actually put it on the podcast. And just the comfort level. Y'all put me at ease. I'm like, I think we can do this. So, I was a little nervous about it, but we talked about, I think all of us in conversations with each other talked about this. Your area of comfort, your comfort zone is not the place where you grow. And so you got to reach out into those turbulent waters so you can really see what you're about, and so I really appreciate y'all pushing me. Y'all saw that I could do it, but I saw something in each one of y'all too. So I be seeing things.
Well, look, before you go on to the next question, they ain't nobody paid me to say nothing nice. Let me start with that. And then I don't know what's going on with these other cats, but because what we do is we just get on each other's nerves, and it's exactly what he's saying. We mess with each other and push each other out of we get each other out of our heads, right? That's what he and I do. In that perspective, we're a lot alike in some respects. So one, we get on each other's nerves.
A lot alike.
And in the sense of overanalyzing. He's still the bad twin, right? Let's make no mistake about it. But in the same vein, it's in the getting on each other's nerves, it's exactly just that. It's pushing each other out of our comfort zones, and kind of to the tune to what the two guys were saying. It's allowing ourselves to be honest and vulnerable, because females do it too, right? In our professions, when you got to put our suit up, show up, we all do it, right? We show up and we tuck it all in and you know what I mean? And try not to deal with it. So I appreciate the ability to be able to, that's what he and I end up doing with each other, is just allowing ourselves, even when we don't try, and then we get off the phone, like, you get on my nerves. Like, I won't even try to talk to you today. But it turns out to be a conversation where we allow each other to be vulnerable. So it's a safe space And we question probably whether we're going to talk to each other after we hang up, or we call each other again. Or we call each other again and be like, do I need to call you back? Because your energy sounds real off. But again, it's that space, right? And you start to realize how you don't always get that, because when you walk out of your home as people of color, right? As people of color, any day, you have to show up, right? So, and that's how we've been conditioned. So it's just been having that permission. And I like, again, I ain't saying all that stuff that they were saying, but thank you for allowing us to be able to be vulnerable with each other in those conversations. Even when we're not trying to, it always ends up to be there. It ends up being those kinds of heartfelt conversations an hour later.
Oh, so you could get paid to say something nice? What your Cash App is? Hold on. Let me sing a little
Hey,
something.
Say less. Private chat, say less.
Hey, so now I got some individual questions for y'all. So I'm going to start with, I'm going to start with Brother John. So you're a man that's consistently challenging yourself. What are some big picture revelations that you've experienced during some of these major challenges that you've gone through in the past year?
You know what? When I think about big picture, like revelation, honestly, I think the biggest thing that comes to mind for me is that when we look at a big picture, our lives are broken up. For me, our lives are broken up into moments. And I think when we put a lot of really good moments together, we realize that we have a good life. So as far as big picture for me, the big picture revelation would be taking the opportunity to break down my life and put it in segments and just pay attention to each one and be present in the moment. That's really important to me. Being a Gemini guy, it's difficult. Like I'm that air zodiac. So it's like, I don't like to be, it's crazy. I've been in the military as long as I have, because I hate rules. I hate rules. I hate, being in certain spaces, having to do certain things, because I really like to move when my energy says move. And when I have to do things that my energy is not right, it just doesn't feel good. So just being able to break down those moments. So the big revelation is being able to break down the moments and make those moments into a good life. And when you've done that, or when you've tried to do it, and if you see it is not what you want it to be, I believe that's where the work begins. So that's my big picture revelation thing for me.
Man, being present in the moment. I tell you what, I had to get to that point. I'd be taking LJ to school, and I was like, let me just slow down, look at the trees and the grass and know what's going on, because you'll hop in the car and then you'll be somewhere, don't know how you got there, and you've lost time that you can never get back, man. So that's huge.
Especially right now in this COVID and the way things is, we're losing a lot of people, man. We're losing a lot of people. And I don't know if any of you guys have been touched personally by anyone close to you or whatever, but when I'm seeing people not being here, all of a sudden, it really puts things in a certain perspective. And it's important to just slow down, I think, and pay attention to moments, man. It's really important.
Man, Dr. Kev, from launching a business to life coaching, to getting your PhD, to chiefing with the best of them, to being a professor, to writing a book, you continue to conquer everything that comes in your path. You keep building new kingdoms. So what's the next kingdom on your horizon to conquer?
I'm going to continue with the theme that Jessica and John started earlier, going back to the first question. I'm not necessarily being still, as Jessica put it, but they were both kind of talking about slowing down a little bit, working on yourself, doing those sorts of things. Obviously I did just recently start that professorial position. I do have the book that I'm working on, but at the same time, lately I've been kind of taking a little bit of a step back and just making sure that I am doing the things that I need to be doing for myself, for my family, all of that, because I have been slipping with some of my journaling, some of my meditation, those sorts of things. So I kind of been trying to get back on track. with all that, as John talked about, eating, working out, doing all those sorts of things. I really want to and need to focus on that. But in addition to that, I am also working on learning Arabic. Very, very, very challenging language, without a doubt. But as you know, I'm an activist, so I'm, very much involved in a lot of different things. But Palestine, and I won't get into all of that. I mean, I know people have different opinions, and this isn't necessarily the platform for that. But I am very much a supporter of Palestine and their plight and their fight, uh, you know, against Israel and all that goes with that. And I have been for a while now, but it made me want to learn Arabic. And I started taking lessons through italki. But unfortunately, the young lady who was my teacher essentially, because of everything that was going on with Palestine, and she was there, she had to, shut it down. But I recently just signed back up to start my lessons. So, my goal is to be fluent in Arabic, Levantine Arabic, in the next 12 months. So that is that's probably the main thing that I would say I'm conquering or wanting to conquer right now. In addition to the slowing down a little bit and making sure that I'm being healthy, and I'm doing all of the things that I need to do for my mental health to be here for myself as well as for my family. So yeah, that's where I'm at.
Man, I've been saying I needed to add another language to my portfolio. I say that like I have several. I got one. But I just noticed in traveling, there are people in this country, and we say disparaging things, and it's like these people know another language or maybe two other languages, and they're learning English, and we talk bad about somebody who's learning a whole other language, and we don't even have command of the language, and it's the only one we speak. So that is definitely something that I wanted to get into, and I did this on purpose. Not definitely not least, but we're gonna go with my sister Jessica Joy. And here's your question: what are some key lessons that you've learned as you've been transitioning from your busy season of doing to your purposeful season of being?
Oh, the biggest lesson is it's hard. I mentioned at the beginning, the first question, it's like detoxing, right? 26 years, you can do math. I ain't ashamed of my age. I've been in the military all my adult life. So this is my
we the
first
same
time.
age, so I've
Hey, don't mess me up, man. Don't mess me up. So if you do math, right? I went to high school and into the military, right? And so I realized how hard, again, the military, please make no mistake about it. I enjoyed every minute of it. I've learned so much. And again, it goes back to learning how much of it was already me and how much it was what I learned from my experiences. You know what I mean? Kind of separating the uniform, the title, the organization from who God made you, right? And you start realizing that it's hard, or I'm realizing that it's hard because it's like deprogramming, not in a bad way, not, you know what I'm saying? It's the grind, the slowing down. It is who I am wired, like, and I say it's who I'm wired to be. It's all I've known myself to be. So I didn't realize how difficult it would be to just be versus always doing. So, I'll use, scripture: small is the gate and narrow is the path, and only few find it. So I am determined, right? If you're talking about conquering, I'm determined to find that sweet spot in what is it like to just be. And it requires, I'm finding for myself, it's requiring focus, diligence. John and the doc mentioned it already. It's sitting and how do I feel? Did I eat well? Am I tired? Did I exercise? So it's almost like I spent so much time becoming a professional, right? My profession of arms, whether it was my job, whether it was serving in the military, that now I'm trying to learn, right? What makes me tick? What makes me feel good? What makes me healthy? And it doesn't happen overnight. I mean, 26 years in service, you didn't learn your career and your profession overnight. And I think I'm realizing that the journey, right, to who am I and what is this being thing is probably equally as long. It's a lifelong journey. So every day, just being deliberate about positioning myself. I read in the book years ago, Eat, Pray, Love, and they called it diligent joy. And it just meant participating relentlessly in the manifestation of your blessings. But it was being relentless about it, being deliberate, diligent about it. So we often give service, right? We often give of ourselves to everybody, whether it's work or whatever. So I'm trying to use that same effort on myself. And I didn't realize how difficult it would be, because what you'll learn is everybody wants your time, right? Especially when you're done, retired, you have more time. Everybody wants that resource. And if you did your job well, people want to tap into that. So I think the hardest thing has been saying no, even to good opportunities, even to things that might be exciting, right? I could tell you my story. You said serial entrepreneur. I have a cosmetology license. I have a realtor license, real estate investing. I'm doing this, doing that. But again, just sitting still has been very fulfilling, but difficult, just because you're trying to quiet all the noise. And Lord knows, whether it's TV, social media, a phone conversation, walking out your door, there's a lot of noise in that space. So it's a lot more challenging than I expected to be. But again, kind of making a similarity to, a military service, a career. You go through boot camp and basic training, and they kind of lay the foundation. I think I'm at the season of learning the foundation and hoping that, God willing, if I live a long life, I have more years to perfect that, in the sense of just being and being available to other people, and being, not just always feeling like I have to do something to justify my existence and my purpose. There is purpose in just being, if that makes any sense.
Makes great sense. Absolute amazing sense. And I'll tell you what, before we close out, because we're running towards the top of the hour, man, I've enjoyed all of you so much, thoroughly. It's like we could just go on and on, but I am conscious of the people's time, not only the people that are here on this with me, but the people that are tuning in and enjoying this conversation with us. But each of you have an amazing story. You have an amazing purpose. And you're so, all of you, with all this rah humility. Oh, I'm just doing this. I'm eating healthy and I'm learning myself. Man, get out of here with all of that.
There are a few margaritas and glasses of wine involved.
Roses, what I mean? But I mean, Dr. Danley, I've just watched your whole career, been a part of my life. And the Cowboys brought us together. You remember I gave you that Cowboys money, Rocket Ride got mad. And I ain't get one. I'm like, I didn't know you was a Cowboy.
Cowboys for life, baby.
Yeah, man. But, and watching you, I felt like, you came in and you already had it all together, and then to learn your backstory, single parent home, growing up in one of the roughest areas in Newark, and, just all that you had overcome, and how you continue to grow. And when I say that me and him are a lot alike, we're both hot-headed. Well, we both want to say we were hot-headed. So we bumped heads all the time. And, big money, big bank take little bank. So he would win most of the time. But, I still fought. I was like a little scrappy dog. But, just watching you, how you never gave up. You never stopped believing in yourself. That path to chief for you, it happened in unconventional ways. But there was never a point where you didn't believe in yourself. And then the struggles of post-retirement life, where you were doing one thing and realized this ain't it. And the courage to jump out, and what you're doing with activism, with life coaching. And I mean, I tell them all the time, I'm getting a sweetheart deal. I shouldn't be able to get this high quality of a life coach for this price. But, that service to people, the initiative that we're working on with young Black men, and just everything about you is about service. And through all that you've been through, I've never seen any quit. Brother John, obviously, you know, we go back. I remember when the struggle was really the struggle, you know, and we would talk and just kind of going through it. And then you put all the pieces back together, man. And, you know, one thing you used to always bother me with, man, you so old, but you in shape. They used to just make me so mad, man. And this brother's like 9,000 years old and he in shape. But man, the life advice, and man, you know, watching you go through, man, the way you handle the loss of your mother, man. And I don't talk about that a lot, but watching that, man, and you the courage, man, it's just, life is real. It is real. And for us to believe that people are out here succeeding without struggle it's a lie. You know, the people that you watching and you think, oh, they got it going on, they've got trials and tribulations. But what separates the winners from the losers is deciding not to quit. And you know, I appreciate you for that. And my sister, I tell you what, we when we were first getting to know each other, we had so many professional opinions that aligned, you know, in an organization where a lot of times people made too many deals based on their friendships and relationships. And we was like, there's a professional way to do that. So we started calling each other professional besties, and man, just elevated that. And you taking me under your, you know, taking me under your arm and showing me the way, man. And, you know, we talked about it, our senior Master Sergeant adventures, and I actually competed against you for the chief position that you got. And if it would have been anybody else, I would have been salty. But man, I was excited. And I was like, it's well deserved. She's the one to do that. And then when I was out in the wilderness telling you, we need somebody to love us, and you won't answer my calls, but you told me, you said you wasn't worried about me because you knew I could handle it. And I appreciate your unwavering belief in me when I didn't even believe in myself. And then, you know, with Elijah and the way that you dealt with that loss, and you came back. That's the part that inspired me, because, you know, before that you had given us more than we deserved. But even after that, you came back and you showed us, you know, how to live a triumphant life. And again, like I said, not only did you teach me how to grieve, but you taught me how to live. And I appreciate that. And I love each and every one of you. Y'all are not just my brother and sister, you know, family, man. I couldn't love y'all anymore if my own blood ran through y'all's veins. So I appreciate y'all. And before we close, I want to ask each of you to give us a quote or a mantra that is important to you. And then once we finish that, I'll sign off. Rock, I'm going to ask you, after they do the final mantra, we'll say goodbye and take them off the screen, and then I'll close out from there, if that's all right with y'all. But we're going to go ladies first this time. Ladies first.
Too easy. I think in listening to what everybody's been saying, I would say get clear about, you know, try to get clear, work on what your vision of a good life looks like. There's so many things that are informing our opinions, and that things that we have to do, obligations. But I think the beauty of this journey, or at least this stage of my journey, is really getting clear about what a good life is for me. So we joked about, you know, spiritual health and mental health. Yes, a good life for me involves a couple margaritas and some drinks and some good people and traveling. So get clear about what a good life is. And at the end of the day, let love be your highest goal and be kind to each other. And to me, that's what I'm pursuing and chasing. What does a good life look like for me? And I would encourage everybody to take time. It's only 24 hours. It's always only been 24 hours. Take time to figure out what that looks like for you. And for you, it's not the same for everybody. That's all I have.
Thank you so much. Dr. Danley, what you got for us?
All right. So I can talk about this forever, but because I know we're closing, I'm going to run through this as quick as I possibly can. I posted something on IG. I think it was either late last year or the beginning of this year. And it was something that I read in Trevor Noah's book, Born a Crime. And it resonated with me on such a visceral level that I ended up typing it into a Word document, and I keep it nearby. So I'm going to read it. It's short, but it's not like 2 sentences short. So I'm going to read it real quick. He said, "I don't regret anything I've ever done in life, any choice I've made, but I'm consumed with regret for the things I didn't do, the choices I didn't make, the things I didn't say. We spend so much time being afraid of failure, afraid of rejection, But regret is the thing we should fear most. Failure is an answer. Rejection is an answer. Regret is an eternal question you will never have the answer to. What if only, I wonder what would have. You will never, never know, and it will haunt you for the rest of your days. And like I said, that resonated with me, man. It just, and I think I've lived a pretty adventurous life. I think I've always, from the time I was a kid, I became accustomed to stepping out of my comfort zone or comfort zones. And I think I've done a really good job of that during the course of my life. But even with that said, there's still a couple of things. I've left some meat on a bone, you know, in a few instances in life. But the reason I keep that near me, him saying that, is because it's a reminder and I have to caveat that by saying, first of all, I don't even believe in regrets and having regrets. I think everything happens for a reason. So I don't regret anything. But again, there's a deeper meaning to what he was saying. So for me, I look at it as accepting any challenge that comes your way, taking risk, calculated risk, but taking risk. You know, if an opportunity comes your way and you don't know how to do something, say yes and learn how to do it later. You know, so it's those sorts of things when with him saying that and me keeping it nearby on my screen quite often, it reminds me to do those things to make sure that I'm not leaving any meat on the bone regarding anything in life, and that I'm taking on every challenge, every opportunity that comes my way, and I'm trying to teach others to do the same, whether it be my kids in my life coaching business or whatever the case is. So I've talked for too long about that, so I'm going to shut up and let John do his thing.
Oh man, yeah, you shared that with me too. I keep that too because that was an amazing quote. Like chills. But John A. Frazier, man, last but not least, I just said that about 50 million times, but
Yeah,
bro, it's on you, man.
yeah, you definitely have. You definitely have. And Kevin, thank you very much for that, because I'm actually probably about to do the very same thing you did. I'm putting that down. I'm gonna hold that for myself. I appreciate that.
Cool.
Simple mantras, couple things for me personally. My thing is that, and I think this can go across the board for anyone. If you don't have a plan in life, you automatically become a part of somebody else's plan, whether you pay attention to it or not. If you don't have a plan to own your own business and you're working for someone, you're already a part of their plan. So that's very important. I think it's really important for kids to understand that, our younger people to understand that early. So if you don't have a plan, you automatically become a part of someone else's plan. Another thing is, and I'm probably going to misquote her, but Maya Angelou said something along the lines of, I'll do this loosely. If people may not always remember what you say, and people may not always remember what you do, but people will always remember how you make them feel. And that's extremely important to me. I try to be mindful my day-to-day in any situation, to pay attention to how I make another person feel. And I don't always get it right. And I recognize that I don't always get it right, but I don't have a problem apologizing either. So that's something that's really important. Everybody is dealing with something, especially right now, the way that the world is going right now. Everybody's dealing with something. So as best you can, try to make sure that you don't add to the issues that they may be dealing with. You may not be able to make it better, but you definitely don't have to add to it. So those are the couple of things that I try to run with on a regular basis.
That's right, my brother. Don't be making me feel bad. Hey, we're going to send y'all backstage. Don't leave. I'm going to come back there as soon as I'm done. But, man, thank y'all so much for y'all made season 1 special, and y'all made this first Help Myself podcast live. And I'm going to give you some time back. I'm not going to keep y'all all night, but I do want to encourage you. If this is content that you enjoy, we're going to keep doing this. We're going to keep doing different things, videos and different stuff across the platform. So hit the like button, share, comment, subscribe, build them subscribers up. And some housekeeping. LJ, come here, man. The people want to see the co-pilot. Come here, man. Come here, buddy. Everybody say hey to my co-pilot. Yeah. So that's my co-pilot. That's who I do it for. I am so thankful that you took some time out with me to share with some people that are near and dear to me. And it is definitely my prayer that you were encouraged And I'm going to close it out the way I close every podcast. Listen, I can't help myself. I've got to inspire. I've got to encourage. I've got to empower. But I can help myself by being the absolute best version of myself. And each and every one of you can too. So why not we do it together? Hey, Rock, take us out, bro.
I can't